Chapter 4. Christian and Pliable confront the Slough of Despond. Now I saw in my dream that just as they had ended this talk, they drew near to a very miry slough that was in the middle of the plain, and not watching where they were going, they both suddenly fell into the bog. The name of the slough was Despond. Here therefore they wallowed for some time, being shamefully bedaubed with the dirt. And Christian, because of the burden that was on his back, began to sink into the mire. Then Pliable spoke. "Ah, neighbor Christian, where are you now?" "To be sure," said Christian, "I do not know." Offended and angry, Pliable replied, "Is this the happiness you have told me about as we have travelled? If we have such a halting disaster at this stage, then what may we expect from now on till the end of our journey? If I escape out of this with my life, you shall possess the brave country alone for me." Hence Pliable, making several toilsome attempts, eventually struggled out of the mire on that side of the slough which was closest to his own house. So he went back, and Christian saw him no more. Therefore Christian was left to tumble in the slough of Despond alone. But he still endeavoured to struggle to that side of the slough that was further from his own house and closer to the wicket gate, and this he did. Yet he was unable to get out because of the burden that was upon his back. However, I saw in my dream that a man came to him named Help, and he asked Christian, "What are you doing here?" Christian replied, "Sir, I was advised to go this way by a man named Evangelist, and he directed me toward the wicket gate ahead, so that I might escape from the wrath to come. But as I was pressing forward, I fell in here." Help said, "But why did you not look for the steps across the mire?" "I was so fearful in my escape," replied Christian, "that I missed the safe way across the mire and fell in." Help said, "Then give me your hand." So Christian stretched out his hand, and Help lifted him out of the mire and set him on solid ground. Then the pilgrim was exhorted to be on his way toward the wicket gate ahead. Then I approached the person who lifted him out and said, "Sir, since the way from the city of destruction to the wicket gate ahead runs directly through this place, why is it that this plat is not repaired so that travelers might pass through with greater safety?" And he said to me, "This miry slough is peculiar in that it cannot be mended. Being low-lying, it attracts a continuous stream of scum and filth that is associated with conviction of sin. For this reason, it is called the Slough of Despond. As the travelling sinner is awakened about his lost condition, there arise in his soul many fears, doubts, and discouraging perceptions concerning himself. Then all of these accumulate and pile up in this place. And so, this is the reason for the badness of this ground. It is not the pleasure of the king that this place should remain in such a bad condition. For this reason, his labourers have, according to the direction of his Majesty's surveyors, been employed for over 2,000 years in attempting to mend this piece of ground. Yes, to the best of my knowledge, this location has swallowed up at least 20,000 cartloads. That is millions of wholesome instructions that have, at all seasons, been brought from all regions of the king's dominions. And those that know from experience say that there is no better material for making the ground solid here. This being so, it might well have been mended, but it remains the Slough of Despond still. And so it shall be when they have done what they can. It is true, according to the directive of the lawgiver, that a number of reliable and solid steps have been placed through the very middle of the slough. But at such a time as this, when much filth spews forth, as in the case during periods of changeable weather, these steps are hardly visible. And even if they are noticed, yet on account of guilt-induced dizziness, their feet miss the steps. So they are thoroughly bemired, notwithstanding that the steps are there. However, the ground does prove to be good once they enter in at the gate. Now I saw in my dream that by this time Pliable had arrived back at his house. So his neighbors came to visit him, and some of them called him wise on account of his return to his home. Some called him a fool for endangering himself with Christians' company. But others mocked his cowardliness, saying, "Surely, since you commenced your adventure, I would not have been so faint-hearted as to give it in for a few difficulties." So Pliable sat cringing in their midst. But at last he regained his confidence, so that his neighbors then turned their attention toward deriding poor Christian behind his back. However, that is enough concerning Pliable.